Ready for meeting number 2. This is the Education Committee. It is January 14th, and I'm calling the meeting to order. Are there any announcements or communication?
I'd just like to say tonight that the board is, or the Education Committee is going to hear about some changes to our course catalog at the high school that I think are both positive and exciting for our kids. And earlier today, over a period of about almost 4 hours, we had the pleasure of meeting with our elementary principals along with our cabinet members to discuss their budgets. And I'm happy to report to the Education Committee and to the board that we are well on our way to developing educationally sound budgets. Next Monday, Dr. Clark and Mr. Schultz will be in the hot seat, so they can talk to their elementary colleagues to see how it went today.
There are no minutes to review tonight, and we have a presentation on the program of studies. So, who is doing that?
Is it on now? Hello, good evening, everyone. Great to be here. We're here tonight to share with you some exciting changes, new courses, a couple of course changes, and we are happy and delighted to have our curriculum coordinators who are going to come talk to us a little bit about the course changes, and then we look forward to your comments and questions. So I believe we are going to begin with Mr. Horn in the Allied Arts Department. These are in alphabetical order. There's no, rank or preference among the departments. So.
My dreams were dashed. We have two really exciting changes to our course catalog in the elective. The first being rather than teaching a career connections course, instead rebranding that to an engineering 2 for an honors credit. Career connections, we've been discovering over the last few years, has really garnered 80% of the students that have taken all of Brian Katz's engineering courses. So rather than restarting them as a junior and senior in a completely different scope, we thought it best to further their rigor in the field of engineering, giving students more of what they're looking for.
So, could you explain how that differs from what's offered at Eastern?
Sure, this is more of a design, hands-on with a myriad of different media that students would be able to choose between. So the career connections, and I think part of the reason that most of the students that take that class have already done all of Brian's courses. I think what we're seeing, the kids that did career connections and the students that really wanted that hands-on mechanical coursework are going to Eastern instead of staying here at Upper Dublin High School. So it makes sense that we offer more of what we could offer here at Upper Dublin High School and let those students pursue that course ed. So I don't know if that answered your question. Any other questions about this class?
Anyone else?
I'm wondering if it might not be best to have everyone present, and then if you have any questions, that way you can kind of see how things might fit together, what all the options are, and then comments and questions. Coordinators can always back up.
All right, so we'll move on to our second offering, which is a 2-day elective entitled Acting for the Screen. This course solves, I think, 2 of the problems in our theater department and solves 2 of those areas of opportunity. Firstly, it creates a partial credit elective of which there are none in our theater program. So a kid that might want to taste the theater program really doesn't have that opportunity now with only full credit elective. This gives a student an opportunity to take this class as well as another interest that they have maybe here at the high school. Secondly, with the new high school came a broadcast studio that we're now utilizing to its fullest potential with morning announcements. This allows kids to get some training, I know to Mr. Squary's delight, in acting in front of the screen, so our morning announcement crew be a little more seasoned. One of the authentic assessments for this class will be producing our morning announcement. So hands-on-the-job training for all of the kids. That's it for me, and I'm going to kick it over to my colleague, Brina.
Good evening. I'm here tonight very excited to share with you the new 12th grade. Currently, we offer AP and British literature. And in the British literature courses, we offer honors, academic, and track. This is no longer going to be the layout of the curriculum. When we sat down to take a look at our curriculum, we decided as a committee that there were certain things we definitely wanted in these offerings. First of all, we wanted to provide choice. We wanted to provide academic, AP, and honors as our choices. And we wanted to design classes that were going to be engaging, authentic, and exciting to the students. Up until their senior year, which in the future, as in next year, students were only allowed to choose AP. They had AP as an option for 11th grade AP literature. And then in 12th grade, they have AP language. AP language will still be offered in 12th grade, except now they're going to have an option to take a class that's not based solely in literature. So the first course that I want to offer, or we're going to share with you, is the Art of Rhetoric in Film. Every one of the rationales for our courses stems from the concept of authentic education, project-based education choice. All of those things we've decided were very important. In the Art of Rhetoric in Film, the focus of this class is going to be written expression and analysis, and they'll be looking at film as text. They'll be looking at the historical context, and the rhetorical triangle will be at the center of the communication and the writing and the thinking throughout the course. The second course for choice is the Art of Communication. And the Art of Communication is designed to help students develop their skills, communication skills both professionally and personally. This particular course, if I could just share a couple of units that we are designing at the moment, they will begin with the rhetorical triangle, ethos, pathos, and logos. They will be writing a speech to incorporate those three into it, become comfortable with those elements. Some of the units include modes of communication, where they'll look at social media. They will look at storytelling and tell their own story or someone else's story. The focus on presentations and presentation skills, writing in the workplace, advertising and propaganda, just to name a few, and it will culminate in a project that is designed by choice to bring all of those skills together. And the final course, as a literature major, this was the hardest thing for us to do, was to let go of literature, because this is what we studied, this is what we've been teaching, and this is what we think is the most important thing in the world. So, but literature comes in many forms, and that's the one thing we've begun to let go of as a department. Film is a text, social media is a text. But we also know that there are students who love to read, so we wanted to continue to offer a course in literature. However, we kept what we knew the kids were interested in and excited about. We designed the course around connecting it to the real world, getting them to dig into how they connect the bigger ideas, the real world. But then we also added for the second semester, and intertwined in this course, is the idea of the personal story and the personal journey. We're going to be, hopefully, we're looking for a text that takes a look at the positive psychology of life, taking a look at the grit and resilience. We're looking at the book Grit, and incorporating that nonfiction reading into fictional reading. And we're still fine-tuning the rest of that curriculum, but that will be at the core of that. Handing this over to Mrs. Kowalski.
Oh, hello, everybody. It's always hard to follow the eloquent English, but here we go. We have a new course we're pretty excited about, College Preparatory Algebra. It's really a senior math course. It's definitely different than we currently have in Math 224, Math Analysis, well, actually Intro to Trig and Algebraic Topics. what the teachers have found is we really could use a senior math course that helps our students develop algebraic skills. These students would have taken Algebra 1, Geometry 2 already, but it really would be beneficial for them to have this extra year of skill building so that they're ready for a college preparatory math class or college algebra class. When I spoke to the dean at Monco, we are hoping this will be a dual enrollment course. He actually believes that Monco will certify our course as is. So any student going on to Monco that achieves a B or better in this course could start right in their 100 level math courses. They wouldn't need to take placement tests. They wouldn't need to take the pre-credit bearing courses. It would also offers opportunity for inserting our own personality into the course. I know some of the teachers that are excited to teach it would not only like to strengthen algebraic skills, but also incorporate some future life math skills as well. And then our second one is not a new course, but we would like to merge our current 293 and 292 algebra courses into one level of academic algebra. The Math 293 numbers are really declining as is, and we really feel it would benefit all of our students. They were all more heterogeneous atmosphere, especially the direction we're going with our math. It's really helpful to have a multitude of abilities in one class work together. Miss Kim Schuler.
Good evening. It's my pleasure to come and speak to you tonight about a new course called Survival Science. And this represents, I think, the first of its kind of a collaboration between the science department at Upper Dublin High School and the physical education department at Upper Dublin High School. Rick Schmidt brought this idea forward, and we're excited about this collaboration. Not only does it connect these two disciplines at the high school level, but it also very much supports our new concept of authentic learning at Upper Dublin High School. As you can see from the course description, it's also going to integrate many different parts of the science curriculum, and a few of them are listed there for you. We're going to bring together biology, anatomy and physiology. We're going to bring in some astronomy, bringing all these things together to kind of explore what survival skills look like. Physical education will be used as a lab to support this class, and we anticipate students being involved in a lot of physical challenges where they actually get to explore the curriculum and see what it means to put some of these things into practice. The rationale around this course is that we have become a society extremely dependent upon technology and technological devices. And we've also become a society in which climate change is ever happening, and the potential for application of these skills is actually quite real. So we're very excited to bring this new course to the building.
Okay, I think that's all the new courses. I guess we're ready for comments and questions. I do have at least a comment to start out with, which is, I'm kind of remembering about a year ago when we talked about the program of studies last year, and a number of us were really not happy that there were still as many tracks as there were in the upper levels of the high school. And so I guess I am now very excited to hear the developments that have happened over the last year. Both, reducing tracks and replacing that with choice. And it sounds like some of the choices are very innovative and interesting, problem-based, authentic learning opportunities. So I really applaud you all for the work you've done this year. Questions and comments?
Well, many thanks for all the presenters. I Given my background, I guess I should go to science first. And especially, I really, really like the integration of both the phys ed and the science. And I was kind of curious, what is the target group for the survival science course? Are there prerequisites? Yeah, what kind of student are you trying to capture in that?
Yeah, I think the expert in this, to answer your question, is here tonight. So if Dr. Rick Schmidt would please come up, and I think you can handle some of the questions.
The target audience for this is rather interesting because we're looking at the integration of two what people would think would be completely different subject areas. So in this particular case, the fun part about this is that this is for an individual, an active individual who is looking for an opportunity to really take a set of skills that either they already have through, let's say, outdoor learning, scouting, things like that. This is where I see this going, and applying that into actual historical context. So we plan on using, for instance, real case studies. We're looking at look at expeditions on Everest, and then you look at the situations that these individuals were exposed to, and then we pull that back into the class and we say, okay, how did they succeed? Did they not succeed? And what happened? And then what we want to do is to integrate the physical education component. We're actually going to try and simulate these exact same, I want to say, conditions. Obviously, we're not going to climb Everest for this, but to put the kids into situations where they really have to problem solve, they have to work together. The target for this is it's going to be an adventuresome kind of individual who is willing to go outside in the wintertime when most of us are coming in. We're going to be going out, and we're going to be looking at all kinds of different parameters under which people are faced with survival situations. The reality is these kids are going to get jobs, and they're going to move all over the world. They're going to move all kinds of geographic areas. And cases in California that we saw in the fall with everything from wildfire to flood to earthquake to hurricane, these are all happening. They're becoming the new normal. And we're looking at science behind these particular situations, and then how do we get past them? How do we understand what's happening, and then what do we do about it? We did have an interest meeting as well, and we actually opened it up to the kids. We said, look, anyone who might be interested in such an idea, come on down. And we plan on continuing that to kind of get ideas. Go from there.
And will there be any prerequisite in science?
At this point, just juniors and seniors are the target audience. So you figure, I think we've said 2 years of science, but it doesn't really matter which 2 years they are. Mm-hmm. Sure.
Yeah, and then for the English, I know we've looked at integrating or collapsing some tracks in 9th and 10th grade. I think the concern was last year about 11th grade. And so now offering the 12th grade, I think, is really, really awesome. But are you also looking to do something at 11th grade down the road?
So thank you for that question. It's certainly something we've talked about. Currently at 9th, 10th, and 12th grade, there are three, really two academic levels. We have academic and we have honors/AP. In the 11th grade, it used to be the case that we had a very large term paper. We redesigned that course, and now we have two smaller papers that students write. They are very rigorous, and the English department continues to want to support students in writing those papers. And if you've ever tried to write a college-length paper, I think you understand what some of the obstacles are. So currently, I feel very comfortable with the design of having two academic levels in 11th grade along with honors in terms of writing those papers. We have an academic level that's centered around the novel. So the papers are written around a novel, and then we have an academic level where there's more in-class support written around the short story. I believe that in the 4 years of English, having a junior year with two academic levels where students will get more support with writing during class is a positive thing. So I think we have achieved what we set out to do when we talked about having.
First off, I'll just echo the sentiment that Dr. Ludwig had mentioned in regards to the collapsing of tracks, in particular in math. That's great. With respect to just budget, I just have a general question. So most of these classes are newer classes, and I see one of them is replacing an older class. Are there going to be additional staffing that's required for these new classes?
None of these classes will require additional staff.
Chris, who would be teaching the first class, Engineering 2 honors?
Brian Cap?
Thank you. Okay, in his room?
Yes, in his room.
Okay.
No, not in his room. Would you like to come up, Mr. Horn?
And with that, are there any requirements, prerequisites for that?
Yes, this would be the third level of, and I use
That's
level
when you're
differently.
losing.
Yeah.
Right.
The third year, thank you,
Right.
of engineering at that point. So there's an intro to engineering and applied engineering. This would then be that third off. Yes to Brian Capps, yes to room.
Okay. And that's not an AP class or an honors?
No.
Okay.
It's an honors.
It is honors.
Correct.
Okay, not AP. Okay. I think that's all in your area, Chris. For the college prep, the possibility of dual enrollment. I know you tend to have your instructor certified or at least approved
In a
by
subject area.
in that.
So it's slightly different. So normally, in order to function in-house as an instructor for Montgomery County
Right.
Community College, one would need to have a master's degree in the subject area. That can, with the exception of world language, that can prove difficult because most of our staff have masters in education. However, because this dual enrollment is a pre-college math class, I believe there's some flexibility, and Ms. Kowalski is working on that right now with them.
Yeah, the reason I say that is because at Eastern, we have many classes there that are dual enroll, and we always have to work with Montco to confirm that our instructors be accepted for them. The survival science class, is that going to be joint taught?
That will be co-taught by Dr. Schmidt and Mr. Stover.
Mr. Stover, okay. I would imagine a class like that, you may want to do some trips and get outside and over the weekends or stuff like that, but most of it be during.
We're not going to take a field trip to Mount Everest.
Oh, I wanted to go.
I believe, though, that most of there may be a field trip. I don't know about that, but the class is designed to work within the parameters of the school day.
Okay. And in closing, I'm not critical. I'm just asking questions, and I'm very excited to see these new offerings, and I'm extremely excited to see that we have a 2-day elective, which is, I think, something that we've been asking, requesting, and something that we've wanted to see at the high school. So that is the first 2-day elective.
Not in our we have a number of two period a week electives.
Okay.
But we're in the theater department. We hadn't had one, so we believe
Okay.
that's a good entry level. There are 2-day a week art classes. There are 2-day a week sports medicine. So we have quite a number of them in the program of studies.
Okay. So would that new theater pro class be for any grade level?
Correct. I believe 9th through 12th
9th
grade.
through 12th.
We are, in a sense, hoping that 9th graders will enroll and taste what theater
That's what I would think.
might
Yeah,
look
that would
like.
be a good
but
opportunity for
there
them.
could be a junior or a senior who says, "Gosh, I've never tried this. I have two periods in my schedule, and this could be something really interesting for me."
Right, and I imagine textbooks maybe for some of these classes and maybe not for all.
Yeah, there are budgetary considerations later this week at the Finance Committee. Dr. Miner and I will do our curriculum office budget presentation, and it does include support for some of the new courses, specifically our 12th grade English curriculum.
Okay. And are you still looking then at 11th grade and some of the courses in 11th that may be changed in the future?
We have not. So as we thought about choice, I think that we see quite a bit of choice. For
Okay.
example, Dr. Schmidt's classes would be one of them as science choice, but not at this time.
Okay, thank you. Thanks, that's great.
So I think over the last couple of years, the district has done a lot of work looking at how we're rostering classes and how we're putting kids into quote unquote district tracks. What for the folks that are not in the room that might be watching tonight, I do want to just be clear with our verbiage that none of this is detracking, because by virtue of the word detracking, we remove all tracks. So what we're doing is we're limiting the number of tracks. And I think now that such substantial movement has been made, now we can spend an equal amount of time looking at what we're doing inside of classes. I'm particularly happy to see that there is some element of choice coming into our curriculum. We know, and all the research out there says that when you provide kids choice, the level becomes largely irrelevant, because if kids are interested and they have the ability of choice, they will choose what will interest them, and they will stretch themselves. One point that I want to make is around the rhetoric and film class. Some folks may look at that description and say, oh, that will be an easy English class. And as Brina can attest, as a former English major, film as literature and the use of rhetoric by no means is an easy course. So there is a great deal of rigor in all of those courses, and actually in all of the courses that we're seeing tonight. And kudos to all of the coordinators tonight for coming up and explaining your new courses. I'm excited to see what is to come, and then sort of the vision moving forward as we continue to look at choice, not just at the high school, but at other levels. Thank you.
Thank you, everyone.
Any other questions? Mark?
I have some for everybody, actually. So for acting for the screen, Chris, well, first, as others said, thanks for the 2-day offering. More, please. And 3-day to dovetail with those 2 days would be great. So for acting for the screen, the example you gave was morning messages, which to me doesn't say acting. So is this about acting? Is this about presence in front of the camera? Is it about all of those things?
All of those things.
Yeah, okay. For survival science, there was a little bit of this question. Where are the labs? So the lab, if physical education was going to be, if the physical education part is the labs, is this in the gym? I'm having trouble picturing.
So there's actually a combination of the labs are not just physical education, while the science is the lecture, to use a traditional term. There are a lot of labs that are basically based in the science curriculum. As a geoscientist, using topographic maps. We would, as an example, we would go in, cover that. Some of the labs would be working with maps, working with a magnetic compass. And then the physical education side of it is we're going to take that skill set, and then we're going to go outside and we're going to conduct something like an orienteering course. So there's actually a kind of synergy here between the two areas, which is, it's been fun to kind of figure out exactly how we're going to make this mesh together. And Brett Stover and I have been working together on it now for a little bit, and it's starting to come together really nicely.
For Math 220, so it sounds to me like this is the students who would take this are students who currently take math analysis in the senior year. Is that right? So in that case, who's left in math analysis? My understanding is mostly seniors are taking math analysis now, and if they're taking this instead, this just
we
accelerated
currently have
students?
sophomores, juniors, and seniors. We probably have a handful of freshmen taking math analysis, but traditionally we have juniors and seniors taking math analysis. Predominantly seniors. This course is replacing what used to be our level 4 math analysis course. It's going to focus on algebraic functions and some real world math as well. One of the main reasons we're offering this course is that we have students who leave and they have to take a place for the college placement exam. Some of those students will go to Montgomery County Community College. If they don't pass that exam because they haven't shored up their algebraic thinking skills, then they will have to pay at whatever college they go for pre-credit math classes. If they pass this class, they will get a Montgomery County direct pass into their college algebra, and this class will also prepare them. The college will work very closely with us. They'll assess our students to make sure that whatever college they might go to, they have the skills that they need so that they can take a 4-credit college math class.
Okay, so is it fair to say this is for students who are moving past Algebra 2, but probably not destined for calculus?
That is, well, I won't say that they're not destined, because I think sometimes students have connect to mathematics at different times in their lives. So there may be students who go on, but not at the high school level.
Right. Okay. And for English, all those options. Thanks for the choice, as other people said. That sounds fantastic. I just want to clarify to make sure I understood. These are all full year. It's all just seniors. And is this part of a longer term vision of change, or is this we're doing senior year and?
So as we started thinking about choice and we try very hard to have 5th grade look more like 6th grade, 8th grade look more like 9th grade. So we're looking to have 12th grade look a little more like post-secondary education, where students have a lot of choice. This has been a vision for the last few years. Last year, we developed choice for 12th grade social studies classes. We're increasing our choices for juniors and seniors in science. There are a number of science classes students can choose. And by design, we worked on 11th grade English last year, and now we have choice for 12th.
Perhaps in the Bible class, maybe tool ID would be a good class. I mean, I find when I have kids working with me, they don't know the difference between a round point shovel, square point shovel, scoop shovel. Same thing for rakes, axe. They're all life learning skills that adults they become homework.
Thank you for that comment.
Anything else? All right. Thank you all very much for that presentation and for all the work that went into it. And we look forward to seeing how everything goes next year. Oh.
I just want to ask quickly about the heading says program of studies. So I assume everything else, are there any other comments or any statements you want to make about the program of studies? Or is everything else will be what we've seen historically? Those are the changes. Everything else will be basically identical, and the way we link, which I think is amazing, and we'll have a nice section about Eastern, of course. Thank you. Okay. So this is it for the program of studies. Great. Okay.
Okay. Moving on, there are really 2 items in our reports and recommendations. The first is student activities, field trips.
There are 3 field trips for approval this month, all through performing arts. Do you have any questions?
Any comments or questions?
I just want to acknowledge our music department. I believe, is it the orchestra that's performing at the state conference in Pittsburgh? I think that's quite an honor. And I congratulate the high school and Ms. Herman.
Anything else, Mr. Schroeder?
Is the Louis Armstrong Museum tour, is that a new item? Have we done that in the past? Okay, that's cool. That's exciting.
Yeah, I didn't know about that. Now I want to go.
Why is it in Corona, New York?
All right, if there's no other comments or questions, we'll move that forward. And the other item is conferences.
There are a number of conferences. The first 4 are around our English language arts program. The top 2 are being conducted at MCI to support teachers with text-dependent analysis. The next 2 are newest items in literature. And then finally, we're approving our FBLA State Leadership Conference on behalf of Jamie Fontaine and Jess Sundling.
Any comments or questions on any of these? Okay. For both these, I mean, to thank you for our format for these, and I think they've gone much more smoothly since we've finalized the table format. So if there's no other comments on those, we'll move that one forward also. Okay, so That's our business for tonight. Is there any community input? Okay, seeing none.
One more thing to add as president of the board. This Thursday, I believe, we have FWBA coming in to our high school, and it's a very exciting event. It's Fort Washington Business Alliance. There should be anywhere from 20 or 40 members of FWBA visiting us. That'll be in the forum room. So if you have an opportunity, those that are in the high school, to stop by, you probably would recognize some of those individuals. And I think we'll be talking about a number of topics that we can partner with FWBA. Thank you.
Are there any final comments, Dr. Yanni or anyone else? Okay. So our next Education Committee meeting is Monday, February 11th, here in the Cardinal Room. Thank you all for coming.